Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 271 and I am Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph across most of social media. I will put a screen in here to show you all the places that you can find me. Alrighty, so how are you? Today is Thursday, January 18th. It is another bitterly cold day here in southwestern Pennsylvania, and you might notice if you've watched before, we're in a totally new location. We've never been in this spot before. So, last week, I believe it was last week, I mentioned that I had upgraded my processing software for the podcast in hopes that that would better the quality of the video on YouTube. Again, I can't really do much at all for iTunes because that's out of my control. They do what they want to do with videos. But as far as YouTube, I wanted to be able to upload a higher resolution video than I was able to do recently. Something had changed in my settings. Anyway, new software. The overwhelming response from you guys was that it has definitely improved with the new software. So yay for that. However, a couple people did make the comment that things still seemed like hazy or fuzzy. And I recognize that, but that is largely because of lighting, natural light, that I don't have any control over. I usually record out in our porch room here at the Mountain House, which is basically 4 walls of windows. Well, it's 3 walls of windows and then 1 wall with the French doors leading into the house. That part doesn't really create light, but those 3 outside walls are floor to ceiling windows. And normally that's wonderful. It gives me really nice light the rest of the year. But in the winter time, when there's snow on the ground, everything reflects. And it does create that just sort of ethereal, hazy, kind of weird filter-like effect, which, it was frustrating. So a couple people did comment on that, which I knew was still an issue. I wasn't sure how to handle it. And a couple people also said, hey, when you record inside, you don't have that and your lighting's okay. And I have recorded like out in our main living room, dining room area before. However, that's not one that I can always count on recording out there because, again, lighting. Obviously, we have a log home and it's quite dark. There are skylights out in the main section of the house, which help, but only at certain times of day and only in very certain windows of time. So it's not like I can always plan to record out there. And I did try, I was wandering around with my computer today trying to find a good spot, and out there wasn't going to work. So I came in here. Now this is not really my anything. Currently it's my yarn room, and it'll probably always be my yarn room, but it's also like you're currently sitting on one of our Bowflex machines. You're welcome. That might be the most exercise you got all week, right? That wasn't meant as an insult, but I know, it would probably be the most exercise I would have gotten all this week. Almost, except for an incident this morning, which I'll tell you about later. Anyway, this is one of the 2 bedrooms that is on the north side of our home. It gets very little light. Now, being a corner room, there's a window right here to my right, which I have the shade pulled down on, so that's actually good. And then there's a window across on the other wall. So between that and I do have the overhead light on, it seems okay. Let me know what you think. I honestly had never given any thought to recording in here before because I thought it was going to be super dark. Now, the other room right next to us, that's the office where my husband and I have our desks. That's the absolute darkest room in the entire house. There's only 1 window there because it's an inside room, like, a middle room. Terrible. I love our home, and I love that it's a log home because it's got such, wood has warmth to it and everything, but even though this wood is not paint or stained super dark, it's dark. There's not the same reflection that you get with a painted, a brightly painted room. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you an explanation for where we are and the fact that I think maybe this is a good spot. Plus, you get to see my stash. Isn't that exciting? This is actually also the room, I mean, you can't see it because it's sort of behind you, but this is where I package your orders. So if you order anything, I do that in here. The shop yarn is all over here to my left. What else is in here? The Bowflex machines are in here. And then there's a whole lot of other stuff just stored in here because this is our catch-all room. Eventually, this is going to be a spare bedroom. Well, it is a spare bedroom, but eventually it'll actually have a bed in it. And my yarn will still be in here. It'll still be where I package things to ship out, but at least it can accommodate guests if we ever have any, like my kids or something, you know. The Bowflex machines are eventually going to move downstairs once we have the studio built and I'm not dying downstairs and we can move my dying studio stuff out to the new studio area. It's all a process. Anyway, let's get started because I'm just babbling now, and I don't even know how far into this we are. It's probably been like 10 minutes of me talking about the recording space. No, only 7. Okay. You know, I'm sorry. I know sometimes it can be really annoying to watch podcasts and have the podcaster apologize for lighting or apologize for their setup or whatever, and I try not to do that, but I am hypersensitive or hyper aware that this house has been a challenge for me to record in versus my house where I used to record. That had the crazy yellow walls, but at least it was bright. Anyway, okay, we're going to get on with the knitting stuff now. And obviously the first thing I have to show you is my FO. It is my hero cardigan and it's finished. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. It's not without its issues, as has been the case, but as you know, I did a bunch of modifications to it after it was mostly knit. I had to fix the sleeves, I had to fix the yoke, I had to take a chunk out of the middle, which, here's my chunk, my 5-inch chunk. Like, this was originally going to be my steek stitches, but then I had to take like this much out. And it's kind of funny because it's on an angle because of how I had to cut it. But anyway, rather than me go into a whole lot of detail about this, I'm going to actually put in a video that I recorded earlier today when I was actually getting dressed. I recorded it over in our bedroom, so you're getting lots of new locations today. I will say the lighting is terrible in there, but I wanted you to be able to see the full body, how it fit me, at least like, from the waist up, or the bottom of the sweater up. And I could accommodate that better if I had the computer sitting on the bed and then me standing back a little bit, because obviously right here I'm in a corner and I can't go anywhere, pretty much literally. So I'm going to pop that in here, and that tells you the whole story of my cardigan. So here you go. Hi. Okay, I know this is not completely optimal. We're in my bedroom, and again, log house, kind of dark, weird lighting. But we're going to go with this because basically I just want you to be able to see how the sweater fits the whole way down, and I know I wouldn't be able to do that. And I apologize. I just took a shower, so my hair is all wet and I don't have makeup on. But that's not really the part you need to look at. Look at the sweater. Okay, so this is my hero cardigan, finished and blocked. Now, here's the thing. When I first finished this the other day, I was wearing it like right as soon as the steeks were done and the button bands were on, I started wearing it around the house, and I wore it for a few days like that without having soaked it and blocked it. And it came, I would say, to about here on me. Like, it was that long, which was perfect. That was exactly where I wanted it. And then I decided I needed to soak it to try to settle the color work down, because there was this poochiness up here in the sleeves, which there still is, and that's just a matter of there's more fabric there than there needs to be, but that was sort of the case the whole sweater, which was why I ended up steeking 5 inches, or cutting 5 inches out of the front of it rather than just steeking it. So, I took 5 inches out, I put another 1.5 inches back in with the button bands, so there was like 3.5 extra inches in the front, and I'm sure there probably is in the back too, although you don't see it quite as much. Like I've said before, I'm sort of broad across the back, so it's not nearly as obvious. At any rate, how do I like my sweater? I was thrilled with it when I first finished it. Now that it's blocked, you can see it did grow lengthwise. I was not expecting that because this is not a superwash wool. It is Letlopi, which is a nice Landic wool, very toothy, and it's not prone to growing as much. And I was very careful when I soaked it, when I took it out of the water, and I just sort of squeezed it in a ball. I didn't let it hang. I put it in my spin dryer, got all this extra water out of it, and then I was careful when I took it out of there, and I just laid it out flat. I didn't do any pinning. I mainly just flattened it. I wanted to flatten the color work out and shape it appropriately. I didn't do any pooling. However, when it was dry the next day, I tried it on, and it's like, wow, we have an extra few inches here. So it's now much longer than I had anticipated it. However, it's also very, very drapey. Like, it has a very nice drape to the fabric. It's not a dense fabric the way I thought it was going to be. I'm not sure if, I've never done a garment with this yarn before, so I don't know if that's how this yarn tends to work, or my guess is it's more the fact that I knit this at a much looser gauge than I should have. And I didn't realize that either because at the time it seemed tight. Now I did realize partway through this that I was knitting not on gauge according to the pattern. And I kind of credit that to the fact that I started the sweater and then let it sit for months and months and then went back to it and my gauge was not the same. So that's part of the problem. But that being said, I had put 6 buttonholes in the button band, and I ordered buttons because I did not have 6 of any one button that I really liked. And I thought that would be great. 6 buttons coming down to here, kind of about where this level of this shirt is that I have underneath. That's how long the sweater was. And I thought, you know, that would look perfectly fine having that buttoned up. Now that it's this much longer, I'm not sure that I want my last button down here. Here's where the buttonhole is. That seems really weird to me. I'm almost really tempted to only put 3 buttons on it. Let's see. I can overlap this. So I'd have one here, and then the third one would be here, right below my bust. And just leave the bottom part open. I used to knit sweaters like this a lot. That wasn't my intention for this one, but because this is so nice and drapey, it almost is fitting me sort of like a slight A-line, and I kind of like that. Now, you know, I'm not sure what that's going to look like once I have it. You can see the lights making this look much lighter than down here. Sorry. Anyway, like when I have it buttoned like this, you know, that's going to kind of swing a little bit. And I'm not against that. I think that might look okay. I don't want to add extra buttons that I'm never going to use because I will never button this up all the way down to the bottom. I know that. And since when I'm sitting, I often don't have my sweaters buttoned the whole way down anyway because I don't like them to pool. I think I am going to just go with 3 buttons, which now makes it ironic that I had to order buttons because I did not have enough for 6 of anything, and I probably could have gotten away with something I do own. Neither here nor there. You can never have too many buttons. Anyway, I will say, you know, I know that this is, I don't know if you can, no, you probably can't see it from here, but like you can see daylight through this fabric. It is definitely too loose. The gauge is way too loose. But again, you know, unintentionally I've created a very drapey fabric that I am not completely unhappy with as far as the option of only buttoning the top part of it. I think I'll like that. And if I decide that I don't like it, I can always add the other buttons and see if I like that. Worst case scenario, if I really decide I don't like it this length, now I've already steeked it and put the button bands on, but I've thought of a way I could actually cut off the lower 3 or 4 inches, well, enough to do the button bands, or not the button bands, the bottom band again. I would cut it up along the button band, leave the button band intact, like I would have to sew through it or something, then cut the bottom part of the sweater off, re-knit the button band or the bottom band to the length I wanted it, reattach the button band to that, and then somehow finish, like cut it off and just sort of hem or finish the bottom part of the button band. So I could actually make it shorter if I really, really wanted to. That seems like way more work than I'm willing to put into this sweater that I've already had to do so many fixes on. I would not have been happy with this sweater had I not done those other fixes though. Like if I hadn't shortened the sleeves, if I hadn't removed that blue from up here, and if I hadn't taken as much out of the middle as I did, I would not like this sweater at all. As it is, I would say I am probably at a 95% satisfied level with how this sweater is right now. I mean, I'm guessing like once I have the buttons on, I'll still be that way. I know it's not completely done until it's got the buttons on. The other thing I have not done is I have not done any kind of finishing to my steeks, and I know it's super bright, it's hard to see. They don't look bad though. I learned a lot about how steeks work. I wasn't concerned about the stitches running away and things unraveling because this is a sticky yarn, and other people had assured me, not me directly, but I just heard a lot of people talking about the fact that this kind of wool doesn't do that. You don't even have to seam this before you, or stitch it, you know, baste it before you do your cuts. And I didn't. I simply cut. I went from the center of where I had that those steek stitches. I measured 2.5 inches out from either side. I found a row of knitting. I was actually doing it down here, and I cut up there, and then I had to cut up through the color work, which made it a little more difficult because the color work actually kind of goes in because of the decreases. So that made it a little bit more complicated, but not, it was fine. And then I just picked up the stitches, and as I was doing the first button band, I didn't even do anything with the other side. I just left it hang, and it was fine. Nothing unraveled. So it was really kind of cool to do that process and to see that the steek part actually just sort of rolls in on itself as you pick up those other stitches. So it's not, I mean, I trimmed all the really, really crazy ends. I could just leave it like this, although I did order ribbon that I could put on if I wanted to cover that up. I don't know if I will or not. That's not really a super top priority for me right now. But all in all, I'm really pretty happy with this sweater. I've been wearing it a lot, and like I said, it did grow lengthwise mostly. The sleeves, I would say, grew about maybe 1/2 inch. And so then it was kind of a little lower in the armpits too, which it was not when I first finished it. It fit so well, and I was really happy with that. But when if I have a long sleeve shirt on underneath it, it kind of holds it in place, so that's not really an issue. I would say the thing I'm least happy about now at this point is still that this puckers a little, not puckers, but it's just there's more fabric in these upper parts of the sleeves. I don't know there, you can kind of see that right there. It's just, it bloops out a little bit. This one does it a little bit more than this one, but anyway, I don't know. Actually, maybe this is reversed on the screen, so I can't really tell which side is which. Anyway, all in all, I'm super happy with this sweater. I'm really, really happy that it's done. And I learned a lot in knitting this, so I consider this a win of a sweater. And now I'm going to stop, and we'll go back to the regular part of the podcast. Okay, I hope I covered everything in that, because that was really very free-form, but hopefully, you know, you got a good sense of what I ended up doing to it. Again, I'm super happy with it. Even with the growth issues, I'm really, really happy with it. And I will say that if you're wearing this outside in very cold temperatures without a coat on, and you happen to slip and fall in your driveway, it will not cushion your fall, but it will keep you dry. I can tell you this from experience this morning. Yeah, it's been that kind of day. It's been that kind of week, but we won't go there. So anyway, my hero cardigan is done, except for the buttons. Now, I did order buttons from 2 different locations. One set that I really think I'm going to like the best. They're coming from Canada, so I don't expect them probably until next week sometime. But the other package came the other day, and I haven't opened them yet because I wanted to show you how they came. Look at this box this guy sent these in. Clearly, he makes his own boxes out of, like, he uses used cardboard, old boxes, and cuts them into these cute shapes. Isn't this adorable? My husband saw it and he thought it was cute. He's like, well, aren't you going to open it? I'm like, no, I'm going to wait until I do the podcast so I can show everybody what this looks like, and I'll open it on the podcast. And he's like, you're going to have an unboxing. I'm like, I am. I was impressed that he knew what an unboxing was, but I guess they do those for other things too. Anyway, I got these from Salty's Pirate Den on Etsy. They're coconut shell buttons, so that sort of makes sense. I will put the link to his shop in the show notes, though. So let's see if I can get this open, because could I use like a smaller pair of scissors? Probably not. Oh my gosh, I think he actually has this glued, not just... This might be a fail of an unboxing, because I may not be able to get the box open. Oh, okay, here we go. This is just super adorable. Oh, he like hot glues them. Oh my, okay. He's very thorough. All right, so here, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was getting this many. How many did I get? 32. I don't remember ordering 32 buttons. They were really inexpensive. They were only like about $8 or something. Wow. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my heavens. All right. Oh, cute. So look, he also sent me a little pack of 6 extra buttons. They're tinier though. So I have lots and lots of coconut buttons. If you ever need some, let me know. Coconut shell buttons, I thought these were kind of cool because they're dark on the outside. They're concave, you know, like they have the indent because of the shape of the coconut, I assume. But then the other side is lighter, and some are lighter than others. Like this one is. That's how light it is on the inside. Oh gosh. Okay, hang on. And then dark. So I don't know. I think these would look fine. Because I didn't want. I don't know what I wanted. I thought these would just sort of blend in and not call themselves out. I'm dropping them all over the place. And they are 3/4 inch buttons, which I do believe should work okay with these holes. I might need to tighten the buttonholes up a little bit, but I can always do that with just a little stitch. So anyway, these are the one button option I have. However, the other buttons are like a teal, a distressed teal painted wooden button. So I thought that would look really good because of this color. And if I do only put the 3 buttons in, it'll just be up here. I think that'll look really nice. So I am hopeful that I'm going to actually like those other buttons better. Especially now that I've got 6 of them, I don't know what I'll do with them. Anyway, so buttons. The other thing I did order, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use, is ribbon. I got the ribbon from, okay, well that's her name. Her shop, however, is called Shea Bugs Supply. Now she only has her Facebook on here, but it's an Etsy shop as well. And again, I will link to that in the show notes. But I ordered, well, I went on Etsy looking for I think 3/4 inch ribbon, 20 mil, whatever 20 millimeter. No, maybe that was the button. See, now I'm getting things confused. I don't remember what size ribbon I was originally looking for, but I ended up getting some that I believe is about 3/4 of an inch, and then some's a little wider, so probably about an inch. Anyway, I couldn't just buy one kind of ribbon because it's kind of like fabric and paper and stuff. It's like you like it all. So I bought a bunch of ribbons. So now I just have to make a lot of sweaters that'll match them. Anyway, this is the one. If I end up putting ribbon in here, I think this is the one I will use. It's a dark gray, and that florally design it's a light pink. It's looking white on the screen. There, if I pull it back, it looks a little more. It's a very pale pink, and even though there's no pink in this sweater, you know, it's got the purple, so I think it would be fine. And it's on the inside anyway. But this is kind of the darkest ribbon that I got. So there's that. The other one that could possibly work is this one, which is sort of like this green and blue. Woo! Oh my gosh. I'm just throwing everything today. This green and blue paisley. And brown. There's brown in it too. I mean, that could work. It obviously doesn't really coordinate, but it's also wider, and I don't think I need the width. The other ribbons I got are this really pretty, like, cherry blossom. See, I feel like this stuff's blowing out in here. I don't know. Maybe not. So there's that one, and then this really pretty blue flower ribbon. Her site sells ribbon by 3 yard lengths or 5 yard lengths, I believe. Okay, and then I got this one, which is, and I got the 3-yard. Some pink flowers. I don't know what I think I'm doing with all this pink flowery stuff. And this one I just got because unicorns. Look at the unicorns. Isn't that adorable? Like, I have no idea what I will do with this, but I had to have it. And then she also sent like a cute little just sample freebie. It says Sugar Pie Honey Bunch on it. It's cute. So anyway, I've got a ribbon collection now apparently, which is fine. Ribbon's good. And I'm just dropping stuff. I'm going to put it all right back in the basket down there. Okay. So that is pretty much the end of, I'm probably not going to talk much about this sweater anymore. I mean, I'll show you once I have buttons on it, but I have been wearing it all the time. I love it. And right now, obviously I had a gray shirt on underneath it before, which was long sleeved. I was way too warm in that though. This is a warm sweater. So I have a short sleeve t-shirt on with it right now, which it doesn't bother me. Like the prickle factor, you definitely can feel the wool, but I'm not itchy. Like it's not at all bothering me. My husband said, oh my gosh, I could never do that. I would have to have like a turtleneck on and long sleeves. He does have some Icelandic wool sweaters, like commercial ones. I guess he used to wear them skiing or something. He said, they're really hot. He said, I can only wear them if I'm outside, but I cannot have them touch my skin. He is much more susceptible to the prickle factor than I am. I always tell him, you're a delicate flower. Anyway, so that is that. I was on a high from finishing my sweater and being so happy with it that I immediately cast on, well, maybe not immediately cast on. I think I immediately swatched, sort of swatched, semi-swatched. I gave it a try for my next sweater, but it's now in the works and I'm loving it. Check it out. Look at all the progress I have made on this sweater. This is the Arboreal. It's a pullover. The pattern is a pullover. I am going to steek it. Not because I'm like steek happy all of a sudden, but because I have come to the conclusion that for hand knit sweaters, I look better in cardigans. They work with my body shape better. So you can see this section here is my steek stitches. But yeah, I am on row, I think 34 of 43 of the chart. I am enjoying this color work so much. Here, I can actually try this on for you. I have to take this off first though, which is fun because I'm warm. Okay, so here, I will slip this over. I'm working this on two 32-inch needles so that I can keep trying it on, and it's working great that way because it's not all bunched up. Okay, this isn't going to lay properly just because it's got needles in it, but it'll be like this. So there will be button bands there. I did look on Ravelry at other finished projects, and there was one woman who made a couple of these, and she steeked them and made them into cardigans, and they looked great. So I knew it could be done. I mean, I pretty much knew it could be done regardless, but it was nice to see that someone else had done it. So I just this morning did the next to the last round that has increases. Now I have one more, actually I think my next round is the last increase round in the yoke. So yeah, I'm partway through these leaves. I mean, you can kind of see. But I'm loving this pattern. It is knitting up so quickly. I am using, well, this is all that's left of the first game, but this is Cascade 220 Heathers. This is it's called Mallard. I don't remember the number offhand, but this is the blue that I started the Dalen pullover out of and then well, I was never super in love with that, but I'd cast it on a whim, and I decided I loved the yarn too much to have it be that. I wanted it to be something else, and it's been perfect for this. So this is what the main body is going to be, and then the contrast color, this is, in case it looks familiar, this is Aspen, which is the colorway I used for my antler cardigan. I had one skein of it left over. According to the pattern, I need more than 220 yards. Like I need 230 some yards. I do have a hat that I knit out of some of my leftovers from that. So if I need to, I will cannibalize that hat because the hat actually turned out a little small. But I don't think I'm going to need to because I'm 3/4 of the way done with this yoke and I have over 1/4 of the yarn left. So I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. But anyway, I'm really happy. I have modified. Go figure. Let's see. First modification was needle size. When I swatched, it said that you should be getting, I forget what the gauge was, but you should be getting your gauge in your larger needle in stockinette stitch. So that's what I swatched, and I actually swatched in the round, like I legit was working in the round with the plan of ripping it back out. But anyway, the larger needle was supposed to be a US 5, and the neck band was supposed to be a US 4. Well, a US 5 was really, really like bulletproof fabric for me. And I thought, oh, I don't know that I want to do color work in that because that's going to be really, really tight. But then I was also keeping in mind what happened with this other sweater and the fact that I thought I was knitting tight and it ended up being looser. So I don't know. But I threw caution to the wind. Well, I didn't really throw caution to the wind. I made a gut instinct kind of decision that I could go up and use the 5s for the band and do the color work in a 6. And frankly, I'm happy with that. I feel like I'm getting, it's still a very dense fabric. I mean, it's, you know, Cascade 220 it's classified as worsted weight. I consider it a light worsted though. So, and the pattern's written for DK or light worsted. So this is denser than I would have probably liked, and I probably would have gone up another needle side has it not been for this other sweater that I just did, and I'm realizing I need to trust the smaller needle size. And what I'm really realizing is in this, you know, this other sweater, the color work was the contrast between the colors was not popping, not like this, you know. But with this, the color work is really popping, but not only because of the great contrast in the colors, but I think because the gauge is tighter. I think it's really helping the stitch definition in the color work. And I'm sure that that's a legit thing, and I'm sure there are people out there who knit color work all the time and are like, duh, you know? But some of these things we just learn as we go, and so that's what's happening. So I'm good with this. Now, if I need to go down to a 5 once I get down to just the stockinette, if it feels like it's getting loose, I will. But for right now, I'm really happy with what I'm getting. The other modification I made was the pattern called for doing a rolled collar, like a garter stitch rolled collar, and I did not like that. I did try that and I ripped it out, and I just did a 1x1 rib, which I do like. So that, plus I think that'll work better with button bands when I steek it. I added 7 steek stitches in here, and I'm very happy with it so far. I'm loving working on it. I will say though, my hands start to hurt after a while, again because I'm knitting. The fabric is kind of dense, and it's worsted weight, and it's getting heavy on the needles. You know, just the yoke part is just even heavy, but I think it's because I'm manipulating the yarn to do the color work too, so I don't know. But I'm really enjoying it, and pretty much this is all I have wanted to work on this week, and it's pretty much all I have worked on since finishing this sweater. I just found an end I forgot to weave in on this sweater. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I would say most of my knitting time has been on the arboreal, and that is a Jennifer Stein gas pattern. I'm not sure that I said that, but you know, you've probably seen it a billion places because so many people have been making them. If you're knitting one, or if you have knit one, I would love to hear your feedback on it or what you're finding. Have you made any changes to the pattern? Yeah, just let me know. Put it in the thread or whatever. We also have the color work thread going on in the group, so talk to me. I would love to hear how yours is. Aside from that, I did do a little bit of knitting on some socks. I knit a little bit on my husband's second sock, and I knit a little bit on that burr sock that I cast on as a sample last week. I'm making shorty socks out of those samples for myself. Not enough to show you though. I'll show you once they're done or something. I did, however, cast on, well, cast on. It's going to be a little group gift project, like a group of them. My son, I think I mentioned recently, my son who still lives at home with me has recently gotten his own apartment. So I'm knitting him dishcloths. And this is the first one. I whipped that out one morning this week. It's really small. It's been a long time since I've done a mitered square dishcloth, and I couldn't remember how many stitches I usually cast on. So I cast on 36, which makes a fairly small dishcloth. I would say this is maybe 5 inches square, but honestly, this is a nice size, especially for scrubby. You get, the cotton grows, and this is just like sugar and cream cotton from Pat Catan's. I think I'm using US 7s. Anyway, cotton grows when it gets wet, and so anytime I've made bigger dishcloths, a lot of times they get too big, and then you're flopping around with them. So I kind of like this size, and I think I'll make the rest of them this size for him too. I'll probably do a collection of 4 or 5 of them. I don't know. We'll see. Just something fun for his new apartment. I'm not sure how into them he likes my hand knit stuff. I'm not sure how excited he'll get about dishcloth, so we'll see. Other than that, I'm still spinning the one Lupin BFL silk. I have not finished the second half of it yet, so I did not bother to bring it in to show you. As a matter of fact, I think maybe this morning was the only day since I recorded last that I have worked on it, so not a lot of progress made there. Yeah. All right, let's move on and talk about the cow. I'm sorry, I'm kind of just all over the place. Like falling in the driveway before I started recording just really threw me for a loop. It's just like, it's a long story. Anyway, the January knit along is our finished frog repair or repurpose knit along, and we've got conversation going on there. Lots of people finishing things up, deciding to frog things. I've told you the things that I'm working on. This is my first finished, so that's exciting. I haven't really done any of my repurpose things yet. I do have all the socks that I showed you. They're downstairs by the laundry, so when I'm done doing this round of laundry, I'm going to throw them in and do those last so that I can start cutting those up. What else? Oh, I was going to do those granny squares. I have not done that yet, but that really wouldn't take long. I should probably just do those last few granny squares. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still working on things, though. I'm working on them, finishing them, and I have frog things, so it's not like I'm not doing the knit along. Okay, other than that, new things. I already showed you the buttons and the ribbon, and that's really all I have to show you this week. I do have some yarn on the way. For some other projects. I'll show you that once it gets here probably. It's coming from the Woolly Thistle, so that'll always be a happy package. I think maybe that's everything I have for 90% this week. I can't think of anything else, although I could be forgetting things. It's possible. But let's move on to 10%. It has just been a week. I would like to use a really bad word to describe this week. And I mean, that's the thing. Nothing horribly catastrophic and, bad, like lingeringly bad has happened. But it's just been one of those weeks that if something could go wrong, it was gonna go wrong. Do you remember me telling you, I think I told you about this on the podcast a month or so ago, about me almost blowing the house up with our heating system? Did I tell you that? I know I recorded it. I don't remember if I left it in. I may have cut it out of the podcast. Long story short, we have baseboard hot water heat, and my husband created a water jacket many years ago. He welded a water jacket for our fireplace that is plumbed into the baseboard heat. So when we have a fire in, that's heating more water, and that's what's actually heating our house instead of the furnace. So it saves on, fuel. Great. But you have to have valves turned a certain way, which that was my mistake when I first screwed things up. I didn't have them correct. And then there's also a circulating pump that has to be on. Well, the circulating pump, we've just been leaving everything in fire mode lately, but I forgot that because we had a warm week a couple weeks ago, my husband had turned the circulating pump off. He did tell me that he was doing that, but I'd completely forgotten it. So I made a fire on Sunday, forgetting that the circulator was off. And like within an hour, he's like, "Oh my gosh, we're boiling water. We have got to get this under control." And so it was a long process because air builds up in the pipes, and it creates a disaster because then the release valve goes off down in the basement to let go of the pressure. So we had that happen Sunday, and we had to clean up that mess and get that under control. However, unbeknownst to us, there was still air buildup in the pipes, apparently, that had been trapped somewhere. And so Monday, I wasn't here Monday. That was a whole other issue. But I got home Monday night, and he had put a fire in, and he's like running around. He's like, "Oh my gosh, we have a problem, and I don't understand why." It was happening again, except it was like blowing off constantly. Like it was just releasing. There was so much air buildup, and he's like, "I don't know why it's built up so much." So it took a while for us to get that under control. It's just, it doesn't, I mean, thankfully it releases, because if it didn't, things would actually blow up and our whole heating system would be ruined. But yeah, it was not fun. And it's just like, I'm so tired of this. I want to live in a normal house with normal heat. You just kind of get frustrated. So we dealt with that. Monday I wasn't here because my son called me first thing in the morning and said my car won't start, and we're basically his AAA. So I ended up driving all the way back to my house that day. That was not my plan. And I helped him. He ended up needing a new battery, but I got him straightened out. And then I had just taken work there to do, so I like reskeined yarn all day there. So yeah, that was not according to plan. Then what else happened? I forget. Tuesday, something weird went on. Yesterday, oh, my car, the latch on the back, I have a Ford Escape, and the latch for the back hatch, it won't work. It's not frozen. I think the actuator went bad. I had that happen one other time. It's been replaced. So that's not working. Something else wasn't working. Oh, my desktop computer back at my house, because I was there yesterday working again. It quit working. I think the power supply went bad. It was working fine Monday. It's not working now. So yeah, it's just been one thing after another, after another, after another. And then today was the icing on the cake, because right before I started recording, like I said, I had to take a package up to our mailbox. We have a gate at the top of our driveway, so I had my gate opener in one hand, package in the other hand. I only had this sweater on because I was only going to be out there for like a minute. And I had, my boots on. Well, I'm walking out the driveway on the level part, not even on the hill. And it's snowy, but whatever reason, I don't know if my shoelace got tangled up in, my boots have those hooks that you kind of wrap the laces around. I don't know if the one lace from the one boot got hooked on the other one accidentally because of how I was walking. But I couldn't move my feet all of a sudden, except I had momentum because I had been walking, and it's like I knew I was going down. You know that split second where you just know there is no saving yourself from not falling? Yeah. So I had that moment, but in the course of going down, my instinct was to try to catch myself because I didn't want to hurt my back. And so in order to do that, I had to get rid of the things that were in my hands. So I took the package and my gate opener, and I flung them like forward. Like I didn't just drop them, I flung them. And I have no idea why that was my response, like my reaction. But like I knew it, and as I'm going down, I caught myself, and I didn't land on my back. I landed on my hip and shoulder. I'm wet the whole way down here, except for the top. The top is nice and dry because the sweater kept me warm, dry. But anyway, as I'm falling down, I'm thinking, why did you throw the gate opener? I didn't want to land on it on my hand either. But there's snow out there, and the way I threw things, I didn't know where the gate opener went. So once I got up, I had to find this stupid gate opener because they're kind of pricey. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot tell Bill I lost this in the snow. So I went and I got the broom. I mean, he plowed a couple days ago, so there's not a ton of snow, but there were a few inches, like 3 or 4 inches of fresh snow. I'm sweeping the whole driveway looking for this gate opener because I figured, oh, it'll just pop out as I move the snow with the, I couldn't find it. I swept like at least a 15-foot radius, like from side to side, like 100, not radius, 180-degree sweep. I did, because I knew it went forward. Couldn't find it. I was out there for over 20 minutes, and it's freezing cold. I did come in and put my coat on, though, thankfully, and gloves. But I'm out there, and finally I'm looking, and we have like an upper driveway, and then the lower part of the driveway that goes down to the garage. And in between the two, there's trees, and then a lot of ground cover, which is all covered with snow. And I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, I probably threw it into there. So I started searching, and I was like looking for holes in the snow where something heavy had gone in. Couldn't find it. And finally I'm just standing there so frustrated, and I look down and I just caught the edge. It's like, it's a little gray square box. Like, it's smaller than this, but it's, you know, like that big. And I just saw the edge of it in the snow. Thank you, Lord. Because if I would have had to have told Bill that I lost this in the snow, he probably would have just told me, get out there and find. No, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't be mean. But, you know, when I told him what happened, I texted him. He's like, I hope you're not sore. And thank you for finding the gate opener. And I was thinking, thank you for not asking about or not telling me how much the gate opener would have cost to replace first before mentioning, I hope you're not sore. He did it in the right order. Gosh, but that has been my week. Oh, and then the other thing. So it's been a while since we've had critters in the house. So I'm doing laundry the other night, and if we have like dirty towels in between laundry sessions, I always just put a little pile on the floor, and you know, then when I do laundry, I pick them up. Well, I had a pile of towels on the floor, and I'd actually forgotten to do them the last time I did laundry, so they'd been sitting there a couple weeks. So I went to pick them up, and I moved them, and I'm like, what is that? And it was like poo. I'm like, we must have a mouse or something in here, which is odd because usually if there's mice in here, they're being chased by cats. But this was back in an area of the basement that the cats can't get into. So I'm like, huh, interesting. And then I went to pick up the towels, and this little guy went and started running around. He was hiding under the towels. It was a mole. And so I shrieked, not because I'm afraid of moles, but because I was not expecting a little critter to jump out at me. And I dropped the towels back down on him so he wouldn't run across the basement. So then I'm sitting there thinking, I got to catch this guy. And I didn't have anything real handy to scoop him up with. So I pulled out this bin, like a plastic bin, and I just picked the whole pile of towels up and plopped them in there. And he was in there. So we made the executive decision together that we could not put him outside because with all this snow, he would just die. So we've got a little mole living in an aquarium in our basement who is nesting underneath some dirty towels, and he's happy as a lark. He's healthy. He's running around. He eats sunflower seeds, which I didn't think they ate seeds. I thought they mostly ate insects and grubs and worms and stuff, but he seems perfectly happy with the sunflower seeds from the bird feed we gave him, and water, and oh, we gave him some cat food, and he likes the cat food too. So like, you know, soft, moist cat food. I don't know. It's supposed to warm up next week, though, and all the snow's going to melt. So we figure while we have that warm spell, then we can release him. But not now while it's cold and frozen. So anyway, it's been an exciting week, folks. Let me tell you. Oh, my. All right. I do have some shop news. First of all, the Yarn Club signups are closed. Thank you so much to everybody who signed up. I think we ended up with 27 members. So yeah, thank you. I'm very excited to start dyeing up those happy hour colorways for you. There is going to be a shop update this Friday, so tomorrow. I've got more winter colorways and more Valentine's colorways. There's one new winter colorway, which I will show you in a minute. I have to run and get the yarn and rearrange things in here. And there's sock blanks and everything. So let me go get that stuff, and then I'll be right back. But just in case you're not watching for this week's and you're interested next week, the 26th, that will be the Manuary update. So the Guy Colors update will be happening next week. But if you'd like to see what's going to be in the shop tomorrow, hang on and I will be right back. Okay, got all the stuff for the update for you. Again, it's going to mostly be Valentine's and wintry colorways. So, first off, I have sock blanks. And these are Valentine's sock blanks. These are a little hard to show just because the design is fairly large and these like to curl. So But they're heart shapes. So they're heart-shaped kind of cutout designs that alternate direction. Different colored hearts that are all speckled on the inside. So they're just sort of fun. So you get lots of fun color in your sock blanks. I have 2 of these on the non-sparkle sock blanks and then 2 on sparkle. All right. Then I brought back one of my colorways from last year, which was a new colorway last year for Valentine's Day, and that was Sweetness. And this is how Sweetness knits up, if you remember that. So it's 2 striper, a white stripe, and then lots of fun speckles on the in the middle stripe, the other stripe, middle stripe. It's 2 stripes, Lisa. So that's what it looks like knit up, and here's what it looks like in the skein. All right, so there will be some of that, and these are on, I have them, everything's on more than one base. This is on Heavenly, and I think I have some on Bounce, and maybe also on Bedazzled. I don't remember. Check the listing. Then I also have some Love Bite, which is a 4-stripe colorway. Sorry. The light in here is maybe not perfect for showing colors. But anyway, so this is, there was also Love Bug. I was not able to dye up both, but quite honestly, Love Bite is the one that has always sold the best. So I decided to, since my resources were limited for doing these this time, or time was limited really, I did Love Bite. So there's some of Love Bite. And then also, they aren't specifically Valentine's, but they are Valentine's-y because of the colors. I have some inversible sets in the cherry and pink color combination. So they will be in there. Okay, then moving on to winter colorways, I did up some more Frosted Whimsy, and I've got that on several different bases, including the sparkly DK base, which is what I made my daughter's hat out of. So there will be some of that going into the shop. I've got a whole bunch of Cold Snap going into the shop. I've had a lot of requests for this, and actually whenever I did that, you know, what are your favorite colorways and what did you want? People requested Cold Snap, so Cold Snap going in on several different bases. And then I have a new colorway, actually a set of new colorways for you this week. This is a winter trio, and I came up with this back late fall actually because I was donating a prize to the Down Cellar Studio podcast for the December interception, which I sponsored. Fibernyth Dye Works sponsored the December interception in that knit along, and this was the prize that I offered, and I also wanted to do up some of these colorways for the shop. So this winter trio includes a self-striping yarn, a variegated yarn, and then 2 different semi-solids, which I realize that's not really a trio, but it is sort of because there's a half skein of each. So it all works out to 3 things. Self-striping, a variegated, and a semi-solid. That's where you get your trio. So this is the self-striping. And the listing, of course, will have the mock-up that shows you how it stripes, but it's a 5-striper, and I'm calling it Arctic Dreams. So there is that, and then there is a variegated version of that. It's variegated and speckled. Same colors, they're just deeper and more intense, and this is called Boreal. And then your semi-solids, I'm doing in half skeins. So you can choose either pine or bark. So they all coordinate. They all go together, same color family. I'm going to have these listed. In the listing, they're going to go like this, okay? There's going to be the self-striping in the listing. There will be the variegated in the listing. And then there will be both of these colors of the semi-solids in the listing. I have all of these on both Bounce and Bedazzled. The last item in the listing, however, will be if you would like the full set. The full set will include the self-striping, the variegated, and a half skein of each of these. That will be the full set. That part will be a pre-order though. So if you order that, that will not ship right now. I will be dyeing that to order if you want all 4 of these things for the winter trio. But if you're just buying whatever's in stock, those are going to be in the shop as long as quantities last. So you can look for that. I think that's everything. There are still a couple things left from last week's update. I still have a little bit of Unconditional, which was my new self-striping Valentine's Day colorway. I think there's a few sets of the Be Mine minis in Bedazzled. The bounce ones all sold out. I think there's one skein of the Be Mine Speckled in Cozy, which is the worsted weight. I'm actually going to be dyeing up more of that today, so it'll be ready for the update tomorrow as well in the lighter weights, Fingering and Bedazzled. So you can find those if you wanted those and didn't get it last week. But I think that's everything for the update for this week. Next week's update on the 26th will be the Manuary update, the Guy colors. So I'll show you all about that next week, but just so it's on your radar if you're interested in that. All right, I think that is everything. I'm going to go, and I need to put all these pieces of this podcast together now. I hope you're having a great week. Please stay warm and be careful when you're out in your driveway so that you don't trip and fall in the snow and lose your keys or your gate opener or whatever. So that's it. Have a great rest of your week, guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.